Hey everyone, this is Peter again. I was gonna show a bit of, not all of it or anything, but just a bit of the Tezuka Buddha series, which I don't think too many Westerners would be interested. They could think, oh, well, this is probably some kind of religious thing, or this is some kind of, which I guess it probably is. I think it's interesting to note that Tezuka himself ultimately rejects Buddhism for himself. But he wanted to do this history, and it's really cool. And this is like the 5th volume. The volumes, by the way, they're like 400 pages each, and there's a number of them. I'm on volume 5. I know there's at least 8. And if I go onto the Amazon website, I can find more. So what we're looking at right now is my Kindle. And unfortunately, I don't have a good way to, I guess I could kind of zoom in. At this point in the story, I was kind of mentioning this thing between Yatala and Tata. And Tata appears right almost immediately at volume 1. But the story is that... I wonder if this is recording. I can't tell. Well, anyways, the story is that they're going to fight a battle over to reach a disputed northern territory. A representative from each country will fight in a duel. The winner side shall be granted the rights over the territory. So it's basically between the two biggest badasses of the land. And one of the things I want to point out is the incredible sort of scenic stuff. This is obviously done by assistants, but it's really good. and then we get into this thing. Okay, here's let me go over here. This is Tata, and this is Devadatta, who is a kind of a bad guy, right? And he's Tata, I'd like you to fight for us. Okay. And he's like, me? And remember, Tata is also a pariah, but I don't think anyone knows it at this point. And Devadatta is acting as his manager, quote unquote. And he sends him out. But look at this is trying to tell sort of a serious history, but it has this kind of cartoony, this is a keep on truckin'. This is a Robert Crumb keep on truckin' gait going on here. And then we've got the realism here, and then we have the cartoon figure here. And then what I also love are these backgrounds. Look at this, just a swash of ink here. So anyways, and here's another one of those backgrounds. Just gorgeous. Just gorgeous. I'd love to figure this out. It's obviously texture, and it's so simplified. If you zoom in and you were looking at these leaves and everything, you just see it's just, little tiny zip, 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 and then these are all hatching. So, so that's my opponent. Well, anyways, yeah, there's Yatala. Remember, Yatala is the Incredible Hulk, right? He's 20 feet tall or 15 feet tall. And, he's 15 feet tall. That's my opponent. And there's Yatala. Look at the badassness of this. This is superheroes, The stance, the amazing feats of strength, or whatever. And then also, has he got is it one? Yeah, he's almost like a robot antenna thing, but it's just part of his costume, I guess, for his armor. And, he can just destroy stuff. These guys are supposed to be enemies. He builds a big fire. He goes out and he gets a cow. And he eats the cow. And look at the look of him. And by the way, he's supposed to be a normal guy that was mutated by a special potion. But I think they certainly got into a kind of Incredible Hulk. This is a bit of, look at this. We learned who your opponent is. General Custer. This is Tezuka's humor playing out, where it's got the Indian. And then he's telling Yatala, oh, by the way, Tata is the mightiest warrior in the other kingdom in Magadha. Later on, by the way, Yatala has already gone to the Buddha himself to try and seek enlightenment, and then Tata is one of, and maybe actually Siddhartha's first disciple. So they both have a lot in common. And, Tata's realizing this. He's thinking about it. And, yeah, I fight by nature. That's what Siddhartha tells me. And he goes, Siddhartha? That's my guy. So he sneaks up, and he's like, hey, giant. He's like, it's the same Siddhartha, the Siddhartha you just mentioned. It's the same dude I'm into. And the giant says, yeah. Sitting under a tree by the river. And they talk about stuff. And they share food, and they said, here, have a bite. They share food. They have a nice discussion. And look at this gorgeous. This is killing me. It doesn't need to be these effing superposed, tableaus with frozen figures that everyone's doing. Look at this gorgeous panel. Anyways. And by the way, breaking a lot of the rules, a lot of the Kubert rules as well, although we're following a lot of them too. And then, we might even call this one of those talking heads panels. We got this. But it's just perfectly done. What's your name? I'm Yatala. I'm Tata. By the way, you're my opponent tomorrow. How'd you know? And he goes, I knew from the start. He's not as dumb as he looks. I think this has to do... I'm going to show you another... Hold on. Let me see if I can switch the recording. I have, here in front of me, I have the Ivan Brunetti Philosophy and Practice of Cartooning, which I think is illustrative of a lot. This is cut and paste, too. This one? Yeah, look at the texture on the arm. We're cut and paste all the way down. These are against every rule, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is the thing that I would never do. Look at these figures. So simplistic. So simplistic, but it tells the story perfectly. All right, hang on. So this is the other book that I have as a cartooning guide. This is Ivan Brunetti's Philosophy and Practice of Cartooning. And this goes against almost everything in the Marvel Guide to Comics and the... What are some of the other ones? The Eisner. Like, this is like the opposite of every bit of advice you get from anywhere else. And the only one it's very similar to is what's her name? I have it over here. Linda Barry. It's a bit like Linda Barry's thing. In fact, I think Linda Barry actually uses the Brunetti one as a textbook in the class that she teaches. Now he's a very much like a newspaper cartoonist, and he talks about spontaneous drawing. He talks about how to do strips and gags, full color Sunday page, a 4-page story, etc. I think both of these are worth looking into and learning from. Look, in Memoriam for Charles Schulz. Just an interesting guy. And if you know Brunetti, you probably know him from the New Yorker or some other weird thing. And and if we could put some other cartoonists, we get, I don't know, Dan Clowes, and we say, what's your guide to cartooning? Or Robert Crumb, what's your guide to cartooning? Or Walt Kelly, or whoever else. They'd come up with different advice, which makes me think, maybe it's not all cut and dried. Maybe there's no one, like I said, no one true way of doing anything. I see people kind of struggling and trying to fit in and like, I got to make it according to this. or I can't make it according to that. I think there are ways that do not work. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying just go with the flow, do whatever you want, because there are definitely ways that do not work, and there are more ways that do not work than there are ways that do work. And time is of the essence. That's if you were to ask me what my guide to cartooning would be, I would say time is of the essence. You can't take a fucking year to do 24 pages because that's all you're gonna get. 30 minutes shot. Once you've done your 24 pages at a rate of 2 pages a month, you better have something so super profound. Look at Tezuka. Look at his freaking at least 8-volume, 400-page volume comics, shortcuts and all. It's brilliant, All right. Anyways, so that's my thoughts on Tezuka. I highly recommend it. Check out his stuff. If you don't check out that one, another one I really recommend is check out the Phoenix Saga. There's, I think, 12 volumes of that, and one of them's lost. So I think there's a 13th volume that survives in pieces because it was kind of recorded a little bit at a time in anthology form, something like that. Just read the first. Just get the first one and read that one. You'll be hooked. These are not super expensive too. I think they're like $8. I don't know. I don't know. Check them out if you get into those. Check out Blackjack and Astro Boy. Those are probably even more accessible. Super cool. All right. Talk to you later.